guys, and welcome right back to my channel. If you're joining, it's because you love me, or hey, you just scroll down and happen to come into this video. Either ways, I'm happy you're here. Thank you guys for watching. Oh, this video is long overdue, but again, being a new mom and trying to adjust to the whole shooting video. Anyway, that's just an excuse, because even when I was with my mommy, I stopped shooting videos. I don't just know why. My ginger just went away. But this video is going to be a little bit emotional. Not that I'll cry, because I'm not a believer of crying on the camera. Anything that makes me start crying, I'll off this camera, start again. Nobody's going to see me cry. He farted. Okay guys, anyway, so let's get right into the video. I'm going to be talking a little bit about my fertility journey. Then I'm going to talk about when I found out I was pregnant, the pregnancy journey itself, and all that. It's going to be a long video, so I'm going to do it in parts and parts and parts. My labor and delivery story too is going to probably come up towards the end. So let's just start. So well, if you don't know me, I'm untouchable. I'm just kidding. All right, so I have been married for about 3 years now, and I think for most people that know me personally and my husband, they know that we have this long distance marriage, which I think eventually we have to talk about that, because that's a whole entity on its own, surviving a long distance marriage and how far we've done it right now. But anyway, so long distance marriage, so trying to start a family had been kind of a challenge for us. And so the times where we would meet for vacations and just spend limited time together, it was like, boom, gotta try and get pregnant at that time, because you don't know when next you're going to see your husband, that kind of vibe. So I had always wanted a baby even before pregnancy. It's as bad as when we were like 2 weeks before our wedding, we had already told ourselves we were going to keep ourselves like pure before the wedding, like we're not going to do nothing, we're going to be holy before the Lord. I legit went to my husband and I was like, please, I heard rumors that if you don't try to get pregnant before you married, it's hard for you to have to get pregnant once you get married. I'm like, yo, we're about to get married in 2 weeks anyway, so let's just try and have sex and get this baby. My husband is the most spiritual man out there. He said no. I begged, I seduced, I did all manner. This man was like, no, we're not having sex, we're not breaking that. That's the least we can do to God. So I was just in my mind, I'm like, Lord, please, 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 let me take it on our honeymoon. Our honeymoon came and passed, nothing. And by the time I came back, I was sad. I was like, golly. And then, a few people will ask out of consign. Some will ask because they're nosy. Some will just ask like, you came back, nothing. I was like, no, we're not trying, So you start to like build a wall so that way you're not totally sad or get depressed or get heartbroken. So you start to say, well, we just got married, we're not really trying, want to enjoy each other. I did not want to know each other. I wanted a baby like now. So it became a sort of consign. The next time I would go on vacation, I would see my husband, we'll meet, boom, period. I'm like, what is going on? Like, what am I doing wrong? I thought I was good. I think I remember my friend saying, hey, have you gone for checkup? I'm like, checkup for what? I'm good now. I don't think I did any checkup. I just thought that, boom, you meet your husband and you get pregnant. Because most people around me, it was like the pregnancy was like this. So to me, I didn't think there was any special way or special thing or special, way at which the pregnancy would come or something I needed to do. The only reason why I ever went to the hospital was to collect this medication they call Clomid, just so you can have twins. I was like, yeah, I wanted twins, let's just do 2 and 1 more, because we want 3 kids in total. But anyways, so came back from another vacation, nothing happened still, and I started to ask so many questions. So I started asking my people who had already been pregnant, like, oh, is there anything special I need to do, blah blah blah, and there was not any forthcoming thing that I hadn't done already. So the last vacation we had before I came back to the United States, he's in Nigeria and I'm in the United States. I think we were in Dubai, and I was so hopeful. I told God, I said, this is it, I'm getting pregnant. This was like 2019, 2019, and at that time it was like pressure, not from my husband and his people, it was just like myself. Like I was pressuring myself, not more so what others were saying and all that. I'd always told myself I needed to have my baby before 30. I needed to do this for 30, 30, 30, 30. So it was like creeping on me that, yo, this is happening and you still haven't had your baby. And so I was like, okay, let me make the sacrifice. So we went to Dubai, came back. I mean, I was so sure I was pregnant. I started acting pregnant. I was like, Lord have mercy. And yeah, I wasn't pregnant. So my period broke down again, and I was just like, okay, something gotta give. And that's when I made one of my hardest decision to move back to Nigeria and say, come thy kingdom come. I'm not leaving that country till I take in or till he comes back with me, or something had to give in. And so I made that move in 2019. Now this is where the real journey starts. So that gives you a background of like how long I've been wanting and seeking the fruit of the womb. The whole time I kept celebrating everyone around me. And there's one thing I want you guys to get from this video. Like, no matter what I say, even if you don't get anything, understand that God is real, and the glory always has to go to him, because it's not anything that we do. It's not something you can just buy. It's not something that, it's like, you know, when you cannot, usually I get what I want like this, so I've never had to want something and not be able to get it. And so it's just very, very a trying time for me. It might not be for others. A lot of people are like, ah, calm down now, you just got married. That the other people have waited 5 years, 10 years, and no way of describing how somebody's problem is unique to them. My mind might have been 10 days, might have been 6 months, might have been 2 years, 3 years, but at that time it was a serious concern for me. And I was watching some videos of other women who their stories were like 5 years, 7 years, 10 years. And I kept telling God, I said, God, I cannot imagine what these women are going through. And so at my second to going to my third year, I said, Lord, this cannot be my story. This cannot be how this testimony goes. I want it to go like, hey, after I waited and came to you and prayed, you did it. So I got back home in 2019 of August. And so boom, I went straight to the hospital, Lute Hospital in Lagos. And no, before I went there, I went to a doctor friend of my husband. And so he was the first one to do the test. And he's like, oh, I have bad news for you. I think those are one of the worst things you ever want to hear from your doctor. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, your hormones are imbalanced. At that time, I didn't know what it was. And I didn't know it was, I'm like, what, I can't get pregnant? He's like, no, not that bad. You can get pregnant. You just need to do this, do that. Sent me a list of things. I went home crying. I think why I cried was when you find out that you're the problem. My husband is a sweetheart. Oh my God, best part. And I know people say that, but when somebody doesn't really, what's the word? He doesn't throw it in your face. He doesn't pressure you. He doesn't. To him, he was like, bro, calm down. Like, let's just live our lives. We still have time. And I was the one just putting on the pressure. And to find out that it was me all this time, and I was like saying, babe, what's happening? I mean, that just broke me. I'm like, God, so I'm the reason why we don't have a kid. And so I kept crying. Like when I got back from the doctor's office, I just was crying. My husband was like, it's not gonna change anything. Why are you crying? Like, let's just pray. So we prayed. I took the list of medication. The next day, went to a general hospital in Lute to get a second opinion, because if there's one thing I've learned about Nigeria, I'm sorry, you can't trust one person. So I went to Lute. They ran the test. It was the same thing. So apparently, what was happening was, it makes sense. If I squeeze my breast, I would have milk coming out. So my body was telling my hormones was telling my body that I am currently breastfeeding, so I cannot take in. Weird. I never understood why. You know, I just thought it was just like you had to press. Oh man, it's too. Let's not go into much detail. So I remember having fun with my husband one time. I was like, hey, press it and start to suck the milk. Yeah, my baby. No. But yeah. So that happened, and so immediately we started looking for cures and all that. Instagram, Google. So we had this hormonal imbalance page that we saw. I think I would find their Instagram, because they were, when I tell you that that was what God used to turn my hormonal imbalance into balance, into set, into yeah. That was what happened with that. There was a couple of medication I had to take. I was on it for like 30 days, and so many other, prescriptions too. So I had like 3 or 4 fertility drugs I started using for to get my hormone balance and to get myself ready for pregnancy. Before that, let me tell you how desperate I was. I think literally the only thing I did not do is probably follow somebody to a native doctor and say, please give me a child, because I needed to know that wherever I get my child from, if there's any problem tomorrow, I can run back and say, this is where I got this child. I need help. And I needed that to be God, because at the end of the day, that's who is so real. So I did everything humanly possible, but still under the spiritual guidance of God. I remember somebody telling me, oh, like, let's go somewhere in the state, they will touch your womb, they'll move it like this, boom, you have baby. I said, I'm not going that far. But then I remember vividly too, talking to a friend of mine. We became prayer partners. She was in her 6th year of marriage, and she hadn't had a child. And so she would encourage me, and in my head I'm like, if she's 6 years in and you're just 3, like, where's the collaboration? Like, she should be the one that is getting all the encouragement and all that. But I was so lost in how much I wanted this baby that I needed her more than she could ever need me. So we started a prayer thing. And you know the whole thing about when you go to church, they'll never really say, oh, hey, guys with low sperm come out, guys with this. No, it's always the women, barren women. So the word barren was just in my head, like joke, untouchable. Waiting happen. And let me now tell you, the accuser of the bedroom, he will not come and now remind you of all those sins of the past. And so that's when I remember, oh, remember that time you did abortion? It has come back to bite you. And so I would try, and I'm like, God, this is all me. I'm the one that ruined my life. I'm the one that did this. And you would think that, oh my God, this girl has been seeking the fruit of the womb for 10 years. No. But at that time, that's what it felt like. It felt like I started to pray like stupid, ridiculous prayer, like, God, let me just even carry. And the thing, wait, let me know that I'm able to carry babies. You know, like when your mind, it messes with your mind so much. And each year, what are you saying each year? Almost every month, there was another baby. Congratulations, we cannot wait for your own, and it was just draining, but I found joy. Each time there was somebody's baby, I said, mine is coming. Each time I saw somebody's baby, I'm like, mine is coming. Each time I just kept having some ridiculous amount of faith, even though my unbelief was strong. Do you understand? So to me, I feel like sometimes when people say, oh, I'm trusting God, but they're not trusting God completely. I was trusting God, but it does not mean that you stop believing. You don't have doubt or unbelief, or try to doubt yourself. But even in that your unbelief, you still say, you know what? God helps my unbelief, and I still believe that I will have this child. So anyways, I know I'm talking back and forth here, but just help me go with this story, because it's just a lot happened in a quick period of time, because God has a way of just working things in his way. So we started taking the fertility pills. The first month, somebody said their own, they didn't even finish their drug, boom, they got pregnant. I say, see testimony. So my own, I finished the first 30 days. Guys, I kid you not, I was like, my hormones were beginning to feel weird. So I was like, would have kicking in, I am pregnant. So I took a test. No, I did not now see my period for like a couple of days. I didn't know that the hormonal imbalance has switched my date or whatever. But anyways, I need to go take the test, and boom, it showed that it's pregnant. I said, hey, I was excited. You know, God has done it. I kid you not, 3 days after my period came, if I say make ground open, maybe I don't wait. Guys, make ground open, make the wait. I'm like, so is this what I say? Is it miscarriage? When they tell my sister I'm miscarriage, not when you go tell me I say I'm miscarriage. I even tried to tell my friends, sorry, I had a miscarriage. And then later somebody, I was reading into it, and they said because part of the side effect of that is that you might have my emulate pregnancy is called a false pregnancy or false test or whatever that was, man. But you know how heartbreaking that thing is. So and as I tell myself, I said, God, so what does this mean? This one did not want to work for me. I told my husband, no, yeah, IVF next. There's no play. I said God has brought out means for us, and so we're going to do IVF. And I think we had set our appointment to start the IVF process sometime down the line. This is a timeline between early of 2020, and then somebody put up a post, and that post, I don't understand what it did to me, but it's, you know, when that time when Jacob says, I will not let you go unless you bless me. The post read, if by this time you're not pregnant, you cannot have your baby in 2020. I carried that post. I said, God, I will have my baby in 2020. At that time I was not pregnant. I said, God, help me. And then during the same time of that prayer, my sister-in-law, who lives in the north in Yola, she was like, hey, why don't you just come for a time, get some fresh air, breathe, you know, maybe just, you know, take your mind off things. I was reluctant because I was like, man, I need to sleep with my husband. Let me tell you, I think I'm gonna get my husband to come on this video one of these days and explain his frustration with me. Sex became like do or die. It's like, bro, come, we have to have sex. So there was not, the pleasure was beginning to go away. I was beginning to stress my husband. It was like, when he's out, I'll be like, hey, come home. Like, what are you doing home? Like, what are you searching for? What we need to get this baby. It's like, I don't care, give me a baby and you can do whatever you want to do. So it was all baby. And then, you know, you have people like, oh, don't worry, it will come when it will come. And I think that's the worst advice you can give anybody. And while it's a good advice, for me it was the worst advice, because you can't tell me not to worry when I'm worrying about that same thing. You can tell me, hey, worry about it, but most about it, pray. Why you worry, pray. And that's what I'll tell people. Do not feel weird because, oh, everybody's like, oh, why are you thinking about it? Are you the only one? Yes, at that particular time, you are the only one. Now you know your shoe. Now you know how they prepare you for body. So what I will tell you is, why you're worrying, each time you think about it, mix it with prayer. Why you worry? Why you're crying? Take it with prayer. Vex with God. Talk with Him. Shake heavens. I'm not the most spiritual person. My husband is way more spiritual than me. But I knew what I wanted, and so I decided that I don't care if it's looking like hypocrisy. God, if you give me this thing, I will give you this. I started to make vows. I started to buy my baby's clothes even before I got to this stage. Before I got to Nigeria and relocated, I bought some baby clothes here. I took those clothes. I took his name. I wrote on the altar. I said, God, I want a baby boy. Those were my exact words. I said, I want a baby boy first. And I started to pray towards that. So when I went to Yola, my sister-in-law took me. I say now I'm at her. I know she was also seeking for the fruit of the womb for her third child, but then she was just like, she wanted to focus on me because she could tell that this was something that I really wanted. So she took me to her church. Her pastor prayed with me. We prayed on the altar, and I got to Abuja. My big mommy too took me to the altar. We prayed there too. Then I go back to Lagos sometime around March. I only stayed with my husband one time. That was it, once. Like towards the end of my ovulation. Speaking of ovulation, guys, I started to learn more about this ovulation thing. So apparently, for some of the earlier times I was trying, I had been miscalculating ovulation. I did not know how to calculate it. So my sister-in-law was showing me, my sister-in-law in the United States started to show me an app. Then the doctors in Nigeria started to count physically for me. So sometimes you feel like you know these things, and then you'll be surprised you don't know jack. So you'll be sitting down there looking for the fruit of the womb, but meanwhile you're not even doing the basic parts, which is what I was also talking to my prayer partner about, because she on the other side too hadn't done some tests. She hadn't done some things. I said, see, even faith without works is dead. We cannot sit down and say God, but you're not doing your own part. And that was one thing I wanted to also specify in this video. So make sure you've done your test, make sure you've done everything that humanly capable, and say, God, I don't do my part, now you remain. So that was what it was for me. So I came back, and it was the last day of ovulation sometime in March, I think. I said my husband once, I was just like, okay, whatever, we'll try in April. So, but at that time, March came and left. So early April and all that, we set our IVF appointment for ending of April to start the process. This God, I never knew that you would honor me this way. I did not know that you would honor me this way, Lord. Father, I did not know that you would honor me this way. You've remembered me, oh God. I thank you, Jesus. That's been my testimony song since this child came. Who am I that you are mindful of me? You know that kind of thing. So finding out I was pregnant early April, yeah, before my 30th birthday. When oh Jehovah, miracle worker, promise keeper, the light in my darkness, that is who you are. I didn't want to make this video so long, so I'm going to do a part 2 and I will continue from where I stopped. But don't forget to share love, show love, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.